Yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And sadly, I had to come on here and talk about the Shane Carwin situation currently, man. And it's just an unfortunate reminder for us fans or, aspiring fighters or people looking into training possibly. It's so easy to get caught up in the gold moments of MMA and the top 1% achievements that we get to witness and that are headlining shows, like to become a UFC champion or, a double division champion or, maybe even title defenses, Hall of Fame, BMF belts, all the money, all the cars, all the followers, all the spotlight, the pay-per-view points, everything, the marketing. It's so easy to get caught in all that. But, when it happens like Shane Carwin and, people we've seen in the past like BJ Penn and Chuck Liddell, Wanderlei Silva, Shogun Rua, you can go on for days and days and days of these horror stories and from the gym wars and whatnot that these guys would do. And it's so unfortunate, man, to see these guys, the dark side of MMA. It's out there now that Shane Carwin, the man can't even tie his shoes. I mean, this guy, I don't want to go too much into it. You guys can look up all the details, But to read a former world champion get as desperate as you possibly can, pleading for just help to provide for his family, even though he has an engineer's degree, he can't keep a job because the CT is affecting him this much, and he's going through, addictions. And to read this is truly depressing, man. And it's just a sick reminder, as much as you love these guys going through the wars and putting their lives on the line, they're doing all of this with no health insurance, nothing at all. They are providing some of the greatest fights. They're helping the UFC grow and grow and grow and grow, but yet they're left with nothing. These guys are going to be 50 years old, can't even take punches anymore. How many times have we seen it? Like I mentioned already with, Chuck and Tito and BJ and all these guys, some of our favorite fighters, Wanderlei Silva, these guys that we thought were invincible at the time, these guys that look like Iron Men out there that would just walk through punches. And then by the end of their career, they can't even take a jab without getting knocked out. I mean, it's absolutely depressing. And you have to remind yourself while you're sitting there talking crap about these fighters in there and whatnot, you get to sit there and hold your grandkids when you're older in life, if you're lucky enough to have them. You get to go through the beautiful moments and remember everything and have a healthy lifestyle. These fighters did all this for us and for themselves and for their families to hopefully provide for nothing, man. You're going to sit there and be a, marshmallow brain. And I understand that, we all sit here and we choose our lives, we choose our paths. But how many guys do you know? We hear it all the time. It's our favorite fighters. You always hear the stories of, I had nothing else to turn to. Fighting was my only way out, and that's what they had to do. And especially when it comes to these Chucks and Titos and Wanderleis and all the old horror stories and the guys that laid the line work down, the studies weren't out there, man. The science wasn't out there. It's not their fault that this is what they thought they had to do to become great fighters. This is what they were told. This is what they were taught. You didn't have the UFC out here trying to do anything for them. And, I'm sure the UFC has, stepped out there and tried to help Shane Carwin. But the saddest fact of the matter of all of this is these guys that we're talking about, the BJ Penns, the Shane Carwins, the UFC champions, the former champions, these are the top 1%ers that ever even get to the mountaintop, that ever even get to the UFC. These guys accomplished what they set out for. And yes, it's sad to see what they're going through, but think about every single fighter out there that never even made it to the UFC, never even made it maybe to the pro scene. I mean, how many guys do you know in your training classes out there and training gyms and everything that you guys do that you've trained with, and you see these guys that are 35, 40 years old that are 2 and 20 and nobody tells them to stop, and they're just determined that they're going to turn it around, and they've been knocked out 8, 9 times, and they're going in there to the gyms, and just because they're ignorant and they're trying to battle and have wars in there, we all know these guys. Think about them. They're doing it for maybe $100 if they're ever lucky enough to get to a fight. So this is the sad thing about MMA, man. It's the dark side of it that we always forget, and that the UFC and PFL and all these guys, they want you to never remember it, because this is the dark side. And it's only going to happen more and more now, man, because we know how young this sport is. We know how big it's getting. So to see some of my favorite fighters out of the last 16 years go through this, and it's just going to be very sad to see the list of guys going forward. And I mean, it's right in front of us, guys. Just look at it. Go look at old interviews of Stipe and Max Holloway and John Jones and Nate Diaz and all these guys. And, go watch their interviews now. It's sad. It's happening right in front of us. Tony Ferguson, all these guys. It's happening right in front of us. And we're so busy on just hoping that they get the win in their prime and that they look invincible, that these guys are one day not even going to be able to hold their grandkids. So, it is sad to talk about. It is sad, but it's the truth, man. And this is why stories like Shane Carwin and like this lawsuit that's going on with Mark Hunt and all these guys, this is why this stuff is important. These guys, When it comes to NBA and the NFL and MLB and our favorite sports, they have fighter unions, man, that help each other with this medical stuff and help each other to be, make sure that they're taken care of after such a long career for such a big brand and big company. Because all the guys in suits are going to sit there and be fine the rest of their lives. It's the players, it's the fighters, it's everybody that puts the product on. Like, these are the guys that matter. So they need the insurances. They need to come together and they need to do all this stuff. So if Shane Carwin and stories like this aren't going to prove it, I don't know what is, man. And we're just going to I'm letting you guys know now, be ready for a rude awakening here in the next few years, in the next 10 years. We're going to see some crazy CTE stories coming out of MMA because it's so young. I mean, look at boxing. Look at Muhammad Ali. It was almost impossible to watch this man with Parkinson's try to accept an award. It was depressing. And you think that was from anything other than fighting? Like, come on now, man. That's blows to the head. So I hope this is a good reminder for you guys out there that maybe you're looking to fight or looking to train or whatever it may be. Man, don't go wasting your good years in the gym. I mean, I'm not trying to shoot anybody's dreams down. I hope you guys the best of success ever. But when it comes to MMA, the amount of people that actually go out there and become successful are slim to none. And I just don't want people out there thinking that it's smart to take blows to the head and have wars in the gym with your best friends that you've learned to love and you guys get to know each other after practice. Like, it's not worth it, man. It is not worth it at all. Save yourself, preserve yourself for the actual fight. I mean, come on, man. And especially if you guys aren't even trying to fight and you're just doing it just to train and to defend yourself, you're stupid. Don't hurt yourself in the gym. Live to see another day. Live to see that you're going to see your grandkids. You're going to see the rest of your life and you're going to remember everything, man. With MMA becoming a lot more, a lot more stats on, a lot more science, I hope they can get the studies done. I hope they can get some insurances and whatnot for these guys because I'll be damned, especially for these fighters that were champions for the UFC and big companies. You put so much on the line, and I know Shane Carwin had a short career, but he did put a lot on the line, and that Brock Lesnar match, I think it's still one of the biggest pay-per-views out there. So for him to even do anything for you guys and to be a champion, these guys need taken care of. Even if they go on to die and they know that their brain might give out on them, their kids need to be taken care of. Their families need to be taken care of. Their medical bills need to be taken care of. So hopefully this can start going into the right path. But as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. Let me know how you guys feel about this. It's just downright sad. But just a reminder, guys, as fans especially, just remember, man, these fighters, they're only going to be there for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the top 1%ers, maybe 10 years. I get all that, but you're only going to get a certain amount of time with your favorite fighters. And, maybe just remind yourself that these guys are giving everything that they have, for you and your entertainment and for their families, just to maybe not even get to see 60, or even to remember to see 50. So as always, your boy, have a good one.